And Larry Elder wonders why not one black person should ever support this man. This guy has said some egregious. This goes back to what I've been talking about with him in previous videos about why I could never support someone like him. And people keep saying, oh, well, he would. No, he will not. This statement that he made right here shows you who he would be doing for if he was to become the governor of California. To the black people that is still remaining out there. Because I'm going to tell you like this, honestly, the black population in California is dwindling and has been dwindling for the last few years. And he could be the nail in the coffin if he gets in. Now, people can question the motives behind his ex-fiance, but one thing we cannot say that she was lying about is that he will be no good as a governor for the state of California. And several other people have said the same thing as well. And I keep telling people the only reason he wants to get in to be, the only reason they want him as governor is because they want Gavin Newsom out. So they figure, why not knock down two birds with one stone? Here's a black man who's running as a Republican or a conservative. So now we can get Gavin Newsom out and then we can turn the state red. I keep telling people that's what it is. But, you know, some more additional stuff that came out about him recently, but I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about this statement that he made recently with his grand coon niece, Candace Owens, in which he said that slave owners were owed reparations after the Civil War. Let's keep in mind when the slaves were free, to my knowledge, I believe every slave owner got $300 per free slave once chattel slavery was completely abolished and deemed to be illegal for loss of labor or a loss of property. So they were very well compensated, and their offspring, for the most part, are still, as far as I know, doing well off today off of the same labor. But this is the same guy that back in February argued that black people don't deserve reparations, but comes right back around and says that the slave owners deserve it. This is who they want to be the governor of California. This is who they want. And it's crazy because I was looking at the comment section, and believe it or not, it was a lot of people. Usually in that comment section, I find it's a lot of white people that comment there. They were saying, like, you know, what's going on with this guy? Honestly, some of you knew what was going on with him and just chose not to approach the situation because he probably was spilling out some of the stuff that you liked until you heard something that he didn't. But then again, I can't read their minds. I don't know where their hearts or minds lie at when it comes to this man. But I know where my mind and heart lies. It doesn't really lie anywhere as far as I'm concerned, except for the fact that he needs to lie down somewhere and stay laid down. And don't speak ever again. Let's get into it. On a July 18th episode of Prager University's The Candace Owens Show, The Kunstra Show, Larry Elder said an argument could be made that slave owners were owed reparations after the Civil War because slavery was legal and their property, quote unquote, had been taken. But he doesn't believe that the descendants of slaves should be paid reparations because we weren't slaves. But he wants to make an argument that slave owners were owed reparations, even though if he knew history, he would know that they got paid for loss of labor. They already were compensated. So what is he talking about? But this shows you right here how invested Larry Elder is to his white base. But it's crazy because he's so invested into it that he doesn't realize some of them have divested from him. But he's in too deep. He cannot pull himself away from what he's been known to do for so long. But I think it's going to start to slowly catch up to him. When people talk about reparations, do they really want to have that conversation? Like it or not, slavery was legal, Elder said. Their legal property was taken away from them after the Civil War. So you can make an argument that the people that are owed reparations are not just only black people, but also the people whose property was taken away after the end of the Civil War. Let's dissect the crap that he just said in that paragraph. He said, when people talk about reparations, do they really want to have that conversation? Basically implying that he's about to come from a completely other standpoint to try to deflect from who truly deserves reparations. And it is not the slave owners. Then he said they're legal. He says, like it or not, slavery was legal. Okay, we all knew that. He says their legal property was taken away, but it doesn't mean that it was right. Doesn't just because it was legal doesn't mean it was right. He says their legal property was taken away from them. Notice he keeps referring to them as legal property, legal property, legal property. He doesn't refer to them people as even human beings. Mind you, he's probably the descendant of those same people he's speaking ill of and calling property. Notice the language that he chooses to use. He doesn't refer to them as people. He refers to them as property. The same thing his masses, ancestors referred to his people as. And he refers to them as the same thing. This is literally Steven from Django. That's him. I would not be surprised if Quentin Tarantino based him off of him for that movie. He said the legal property was taken away from them after the Civil War, so you can make an argument that the people that are owed reparations are not just black people, but also the people whose property was taken away. Now, mind you, he made a claim that black people didn't deserve reparations, so now that he feels that he can make an argument that those who deserve reparations, as far as white people are concerned, now he wants to lump black people back in there because he knows that black people aren't going to get all of it or even the bulk of it if he had it his way. That's why, let's just hypothetically say, and let's hope this never happens. Let's say that Larry Elder became the president of the United States and the argument of reparations finally passed under his rulership. Look back to this. That would not be a good thing because this is what he would pull out of his ass is this statement right here. And that's how he would distribute the money. And we would probably get crumbs. Leave it to him. Owens and Elder's conversation on reparations began when Owens said the U.S. was one of the first countries to ban the slave trade. It was one of the last countries to abolish slavery, according to PolitiFact. Elder replied that the United Kingdom compensated slave owners for their loss of property, stating that the substantial amounts of money they received from the government prevented civil war from breaking out like it did in the U.S. So so he's going off of that. The British Slave Compensation Commission distributed 20 million pounds in compensation to slave owners following the passage of the Slavery Abolition Act of 1833, according to the Center for the Study of Legacies of British Slavery. So he's using what the British did to try to say the same thing should happen in the U.S. This guy is as disgusting as they come. I cannot stand him or people who think like that. He is the ultimate traitor to black people. And what's interesting, like I said before, is white people are starting to see exactly that and how traitorous he truly is. That's why I hope that everything that is mounting up on him right now continues to mount. And I hope that he loses that governor run. He is bad for California. And this is not me taking up for Gavin Newsom before anybody says that I'm coming to Gavin Newsom's defense, because I am not. But we know what type of devil we're dealing with when it comes to Larry Elder. Black people have been dealing with Larry Elder for decades. And now people are starting to see exactly who he truly is underneath this shell that you see on your screen. This guy is toxic. He is a poison. He is a stain on society, and he is a waste of melanin and sperm. He is one of the ones that we wish would have got flushed the night that he was conceived. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments.